Welcome, Your Excellency, Mr. James. It's an honor having you here today.
Well, thank you, Mariam, and thank you for that sort of introduction. You made me think about all those years I served in the Navy, in the British Navy, the Royal Navy, and one of the key things you take away from working like that is about the necessity for teamwork, about how the sum of the parts is greater, and therefore, if you can get people to work well together, it enables you to outperform other people. And we know this from sport, we know this from all sorts of occasions, even from military history. And the great thing about Rabdan Academy, a university that's based in Abu Dhabi, is that we are trying to bring together cross-government young people who have got a future in safety, security, defense, emergency management and crisis response, with the idea that they get to know each other, they form networks of trust, they study together, they understand what each other's organizations were doing. So if they're in the military, they sit next to a police officer, and they, for hopefully the rest of their life, they've got this greater appreciation of the importance of working together, and the importance of understanding each other's challenges. And in a world where increasingly we are threatened by organized crime, by terrorism, by non-state actors and state actors who try and find those boundaries between our big organizations, the police, the military, and the other entities. It's important that we try and close those gaps, that we try and close the boundaries by creating much more of a whole team response. And His Highness the President's sort of ambition and drive and vision for the Academy is all about a cadre of people who'd be willing and keen to cooperate together into the future. And so from my experience, those 35 years I was in the military, gosh, that was the one lesson I really took away, was that teamwork is critical. And here we are at Rabdan. I've been at the Academy for 9 years now, and trying to promote teamwork cross-government and with international entities as well. And of course, you come here to the Dubai Police Summit, and you see this in action. You see the stands from all around the world. You see all the organizations and entities who are all trying to look at how they can cooperate. But a lot of it comes down to just human behaviors, about how do we behave together? Do we trust each other? Can we share information and intelligence with each other? Can we respond in the event of crises and emergencies? So yeah, my past links beautifully to what I'm doing.
I think that's one of the questions I was interested to know, is working in the Navy. Did you take that vision with you now at Rabdan Academy? And you mentioned teamwork. Are there any other values that you've carried with you from working at the Navy to Rabdan Academy and that are still visible until this day?
For sure. I mean, they're the things that are imprinted, I think, in your soul, your values. I mean, one of them within the Academy, of course, is about teamwork, about how we as a team work together. And we're blessed. So we have, in our faculty, we've got about 105 faculty from 40 different nations. They're all top 200 university PhD holders. We then have, on the admin side, 85-90% Emiratis. So I predominantly work with Emiratis every day. But that bring that together as a team creates a very powerful organization. We bring global perspectives to what we're teaching, but we bring an Emirati flavor to everything from the sort of core of the team. And so actually, and it makes a wonderful working environment, really engaging work environment, very thought-provoking. But and of course other values you get. I mean, integrity is an obvious one. Integrity is critically important for a police officer, for a military officer, and so promoting those values to our student body of integrity, of being prepared to speak up and question and ask good questions, be curious about the world. Face the world they're facing today, these young men and women who are the future leaders of the police and the military here. When you look at the challenges they're facing, or they will face when they graduate, the speed of change of AI, the speed of change in the way organized crime and other people, they're developing. They're very innovative. They're very young, dynamic organizations. So we've got to prepare people to face threats and challenges that we can't possibly train them, because we don't actually know that those threats exist yet. What we have to do is give them the skill set of analysis, of critical thinking, of leadership, that means that when they face an unknown challenge in, say, 5 years' time, that they can turn, or reorientate, change their organization to face it, face whatever threat it might be. And I think that, agility, really, really important that all people in policing and security, the agility to respond to the real world situations they find themselves facing is critically important. So their professional journey, their ability to continually ask what's happening in the world, what are the threats? Otherwise, we're always on the back foot, we're always reactive. And we need to be as proactive as we can in facing what is a very, very complex threat picture out there.
And are you guys integrating the new technologies and AI in this learning, and the unknown threats and the upcoming threats that are ever evolving? Do you integrate technology, and have you found any game-changing technologies that could work?
Well, here in the last few months, we've been launching virtual reality in things like crime scenes investigation. So, and we've got an event here based around the use of virtual reality to train policemen, so that when they arrive at a crime scene, they can look for the clues. And of course, virtual reality offers huge opportunity for experiential learning, which people, they remember better when they've actually tried it in safe scenarios. So virtual reality, great example. And as I say, we've been showcasing it recently and here. But we also embraced, as the large language models came online a couple of years ago, we've embraced them because, in my view, the young students today are going to be using those tools. Well, they are using them today, and they're definitely going to be using them tomorrow in their work. So trying to show them, the use of AI, the constraints of AI, the challenges of AI, the ethical, moral challenges, the legal boundaries, and these, of course, will evolve dramatically over the next few years as we understand AI more and as AI capabilities increase. So yes, we're embracing all of those modern challenges because that's the reality of the world in which our graduates are facing. And we've got around 1,000 graduates now from our programs, from our academic programs out there, a lot more from our short courses and vocational training, out there already working across the various police forces. So over the next few years, I think we will see the benefits of the Rabdan experience and the quality of what they're getting. And as I say, that international challenge, the diversity of our faculty, the quality of the faculty leads to, really good programs. And so which I think the students find engaging, but they also hopefully appreciate that we are trying to make them look into the future, not really into the past.
Exactly. And I think, especially academically, AI can work as a double-edged sword. Like some might see it as students are not putting as much efforts as we used to when AI didn't exist and we had to read and, do our own search and go to the library and do all of that. But you mentioned stuff like the virtual reality that's super game-changing in the field, and I think that's why it's kind of tricky, especially academically, but you guys are integrating it perfectly as a
and you're right about that challenge of AI in the academic space, but the key thing is to educate people how to use it properly. Because it's not perfect, and you can put in questions, it will come up with the wrong answer, and you've got to be pretty cautious. But the idea that our graduates, for some reason, would not be using it in the future, well, of course they will. They're going to be using it in the future, and so we need to teach them how to use it well, and how So we've embraced it. Clearly you have to think about how you do assessment differently. You've got to think about how you assess, the abilities of the young man or woman who's studying with you. But that's a challenge for us in academia to try and resolve. Not, that we can't blame AI for that. It's something that we've just got to think more broadly about. How do you ask a question of somebody that enables them to demonstrate their own thinking and not just rely on a ChatGPT generated answer. So, and that's what we're pushing with them. But we want them to they've got to be able to use these tools. They are using these tools, frankly. They are. And I encourage it, if we can use it constructively to improve what they're doing. But they are going to be the ones who face, as we are now, these ethical questions about the use of AI about drones, autonomous weapon systems. But we've got to remember that organized crime are using it as well. So we better wise up to what's happening out there. Otherwise, we're going to find ourselves outmaneuvered, and therefore, them understanding AI is as important, because otherwise they certainly won't understand what organized crime and other people are doing.
I want to ask you about the summit. Since it's day one, it's almost the end of day one. What are your thoughts on the World Police Summit so far, and what is Rabdan Academy doing here at the summit, or showcasing to the audience?
Well, I've been to the World Police Summit for the last few years. I always enjoy it as an opportunity to think broadly about what's happening globally in the policing environment. There's always key players here from the global team, and that makes you reflect and think, because there's a lot of progress in different areas, different challenges sometimes for different countries, but a lot of common challenges that we're facing. So you have very rich conversations with other people trying to look at similar challenges. And, for us at Rabdan, it's a great opportunity for us to showcase some of the things we're doing with Abu Dhabi Police, with Dubai Police, with the military here, as we increasingly grow in size as an academy. We're 11 years old at the moment, so we're quite young. But we've got a range of programs which we're expanding. We're doing increasingly a lot of short course training as well, and trying to work out through the micro credentials, professional certification, the qualifications that people need, the top ups they also need as they go through their career journey. Just because you did your degree 10 years ago, you probably need a few professional top ups to keep yourself professionally engaged and ahead of it. So it's a really good opportunity for us to meet with other people, other academic institutions, police forces, technologists, who are all working in that space, and to make sure they understand what we're doing as well.
We will. And I want to know more about your booth here at the summit, for our listeners who might be interested to join and know more about Rabdan. What are you offering here at the summit, and what's your main talk points when someone is visiting your booth?
Well, so the standard booth on the exhibition floor, we've got a team of people who know about the academy, obviously, who are talking to our various visitors about what we do and just explaining that. But we've got a series of events we're also running as part of the summit. So one of them is around the virtual reality training that we're doing. So sharing that with a wider audience. There are other people in the world using virtual reality as well. So it's an opportunity for us to share experience with them. But we've also got the Rabdan Security and Defense Institute, which is a think tank focused on security and defense, based out of Rabdan Academy. So we've got various other items we're showcasing of think pieces, insights that we've generated, looking at some of the contemporary security challenges that we face, both regionally and globally. So there's quite a range of opportunities for us here.
And I think because it's a hub where, people from the government and the private sectors from all over the world in the law enforcement field gather. And with your background, you're the perfect candidate to speak about that. And we want to know, for our listeners who are interested in knowing more or joining Rabdan Academy, what's your advice for them, and where can they find more information about this?
Well, of course, come to our booth would be the first thing I would say. But we've got plenty of information, on our website. It's a fairly obvious place to look. We offer a range of programs, predominantly our student body is Emirati. We have international students. Some of our students are sponsored, some are self-funding, some we offer scholarship to. So there's a big range of programs that are on offer around security and defense. So, we offer policing and security programs, both at the bachelor and the master's level. But we offer ones around integrated emergency management, the team response to the crisis, business continuity, which sounds dry, but of course, COVID taught us, if anything, business continuity is critically important for any organization that wants to survive the turbulent world in which we live. So, we have a range, as I mentioned, crime scenes. We do a diploma in crime scenes as well. We teach predominantly in English. The crime scene diploma is in Arabic. We're looking more actually in Arabic for the diploma level as well, for policing and security. But we also do a lot of short courses. And again, there's plenty of information on the website. But a lot of the organizations here come to us and we design specific training programs for them.
Do you think summits like the World Police Summit sets some type of standards for academically for institutions like Rabdan Academy?
Well, they certainly push us to ensure that we're keeping up to date, which is, from what I've said so far, critically important for us that we are looking at contemporary challenges and trying to look into the future of the challenges we face. So I think summits like this are really good because they bring together a whole load of people who are trying to think about where we go, really, rather than what the past looks like, and that sort of the conversations you therefore have stretch your imagination, and different people are seeing different challenges. So to me, a summit like this is a real opportunity for thinking about the future, for thinking about the challenges we'll face, and then for thinking about how we'll respond to them. How do we need to change our training and education programs? And increasingly, we do see that things like micro-credentials, short courses, regular interventions, but not too long. We offer a little bit online, partly because, it's easy to offer it online, but actually we also want to get people together because that human experience of learning together actually does form those networks of trust. And so as part of our mission, trying to get people in the same room. And it's amazing when you see it. We've done a variety of courses for different organizations where people have sat down and they've said, oh, I didn't know you were involved to that. And you discover that people don't know who else is working on the subjects that they're working on. And so we find ourselves as like a convening authority, like we have agency to bring people together to talk about the challenges we face. And that's really, the summit does that. The summit convenes global experts to talk about the challenges we face. And that pushes us in the academic space as well.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I think your role in shaping, future-ready leaders is exactly why we think your institutions is a core pillar here at the World Police Summit. And it's been an honor having you here today.
Well,
thank you so much for
thank you very much. Thank you, Mariam, for inviting me, and thank you for our conversation.
Thank you so much.
I'm pleased to be able to explain what we do, and thank you.
Thank you.